Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Streggy, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. And I'm David Streggy, here to show you some more mail that I got today. I already kind of opened it. Came from Amazon. I ended up doing a 2-day thing just to make sure that that these showed up. Now, American Genre Film Archive has been working with different film companies to get some of these films out there, and I think I already went on about one film that I had actually gotten already called. I believe it was called Satan's Children, and it had a double feature on it or whatnot. But I heard about a Ugandan superhero film, and it ended up on this double feature volume 1 set. It's a Blu-ray DVD combo. It's called Wacka Wacka Super Action Volume 1, and it's got Who Killed Captain Alex and Bad Black on it. Here's what the film looks like, and on the back here it says, "Welcome to Wacka, Uganda, home of the best movies, and the vanguards of DIY commando cinema." Under the guidance of writer-director-producer Nabwana Isaac Godfrey Jeffrey, IGG, and with the producer star Alan Sally Hoffmanis, this crack crew of self-taught filmmakers and martial arts aficionados produced dozens of gonzo action films in the Kampala ghetto with budgets that rarely exceed $200 USD, utilizing scrap parts to build computers, machine guns, and a full-sized Huey helicopter. These real-life superheroes inspire more heart, imagination, and soul than 1,000 Hollywood blockbusters. AGFA is proud to bring two of the most reckless, out-of-control brain blasts in the Wacka canon to home video for the first time ever. Who Killed Captain Alex and Bad Black? And in Uganda's finest storytelling tradition, the films are complemented by the acerbic wit of narrator VJ, video joker VJ Emmy, who sums up the Wallywood experience, or Wacka experience, with a single sentiment. It is a love story. Love of action. Um, so there is a director's commentary on here, commercials, interviews, music videos, and the welcome videos for 14 countries on here. And so, yeah, there's that from the AGFA, American Genre Film Archive, and Blood Lake, which is from 1987. Evidently, they were working with BleedingSkull.com to put this out. And this is a BL Movie Corporation production by Tim Boggs. It is the only film that this director has directed. He's more a sound designer, someone dealing with sound. But in any case, Blood Lake is the most fascinating and stupefying shot-on-video slasher that ever escaped from 1987. A group of unhinged party animals, including adolescent horn dogs Little Tony, embark on a weekend trip filled with jet skis, a keg of bush, and an extended game of quarters. But look out. There's a supernatural killer on the loose who wears cowboy boots and a silk shirt with a rose stitched on it. Made by real-life friends from Oklahoma on a real-life vacation, Blood Lake is a rewardingly lethal collision of 80s slasher video vomit and twisted cinema verity madness. From false metal soundtrack hits to gratuitous scenes of people sleeping, this might be the only movie in history capable of receiving a stamp of approval from both David Lee Roth and Andy Warhol. So, yep, there we have it. Blood Lake should be entertaining when I get around to it. So yeah, that was the mail for today. Going on with some more films from this box that I was pulling from. So this is a Japanese film called Big Shot's Funeral, and it's in Japanese on the front and back. I don't think I'll be able to read Japanese, but I know that this actually has English subtitle laying on it. So yeah, ended up buying this from a friend of mine by the name of Tito Johnson. So this is an out-of-print called Evic's release of Walerian Borowski's Behind Convent Walls. So this is a nunsploitation film, and it is an erotic film set in a convent where a mother superior tries to maintain order to prevent the nuns from temptation. But when things get out of control, the church inflicts cruel punishment to the nuns for their sins. Behind Convent Walls is an erotic art house film by cult director Walerian Borowczyk, director of The Beast, one of the most beautifully shot nunsploitation films alongside School of the Holy Beast, with cinematography by Luciano Tavoli, who evidently worked as a cinematographer on Suspiria. So I like that it has that connection to it. And the film was filmed in Italy in 1978 It is roughly about 95 minutes long, and I have watched this film. I I don't know why, but I enjoy erotic films. Maybe for the sense that, you know, they actually, some of them were actually decent, and didn't skim on showing skin and going outside of the boundaries of the norm of, you know, what you would think would normally be a religious story or whatnot. So, um, going on to Ballet of Blood. This is the director's cut of Ballet of Blood. So, can't really read the back here, but it says a psychedelic deluge of terror, and this is signed. I actually bought. I think I bought this on eBay from the actual director, and the director. Is let me look him up here real quick. Ballet of Blood. Ballet of Blood. Oh, okay. So it's a film from 2015, and it's by Jared Masters. I ended up starting to collect a ton of Jared Masters films, and the film stars Sydney Ray, Mindy Robinson, and Jesse Aaron. I'm just going to read IMDb's synopsis. It says two ballerinas plan a gruesome attack on the ballet school that mistreated them. So, Jared Masters tends to be a more of an art house kind of erotic director, where he skates the burlesque eroticness. It's not quite softcore porn, but it is sexy in nature, or tries to show nudity, and I think this is more of a horror film for him. So it was definitely a unique idea for him. Um, so yeah, there is. Let me show you on the back here. There are some scenes that you can see from the film on the back. So yeah, should be entertaining once I get around to watching it. I have not seen that one. Now, this one is actually signed as well. I was actually part of the campaign for Bone Hill Road. And this is the copy that Todd Sheets sent out to everyone who had been part of the campaign. And I got a bunch of stuff with it, but I can show that in another video. Let me read the back here for you. Stranded but not alone. Emily, played by Ellie DeGear, and her daughter, Eden, played by Anna Rojas Plumberg, escape an abusive situation of domestic violence and hit the highway, hoping to put their dark past behind them. Little do they know the dark secrets they are about to uncover when they get stranded on Old Bone Hill Road. Something evil is waiting in the dark woods, and they are now the prey. Also starring horror icon Linnea Quigley and drive-in movie legend Gary Kent. Bone Hill Road is a non-stop thrill ride from start to finish. In the tradition of great werewolf films like The Howling and An American Werewolf in London, This is a modern monster movie with an old school feel, all practical effects and no CGI. An original, fresh spin on a classic story. So, Todd Sheets Extreme Entertainment is his production company, and I have watched this. I love the music, the three tracks behind this film. I thought the story was definitely steeped in gore, um, per se. As far as the werewolf costumes or whatnot, those were awesome to see. And that's where the money was spent, Kickstarter wise or Indiegogo wise. It was spent on the creatures and the effects that went along with them, and I thought it was a unique perspective of the modern day werewolf. And there were two werewolf films going on around that time, Betsy as well, which I also put money into. I think whenever independent directors try to make a movie, sometimes they want to make something. If clowns seem to be the things that go around that are going on, well, that's when directors make clown movies or something of that nature. So, now here I have two editions of a trilogy of films that are from a director that I know who did Dead Good Films, and he's from the UK. And the reason why I was able to get different editions of this trilogy, which technically is the Brutal Jesus and the House of Wasted Youth, The Violent Vicar, and Exploiting Christ. Exploiting Christ was a documentary about the behind the scenes of some of what they were talking about, and the Bible Cunt, Christploitation Exclusive Edition, and Christploitation Triple Feature. This was limited to 20 copies, and this was limited to 20 copies. Christploitation features are features that exploit the Christianity theme or Jesus, or make fun, mock the genre of Christianity, and this director is by the name of Nick Cox. And the reason why I was able to get these two copies, along with some other copies of another another film, which I'll have to pull out and talk about later. Nick Cox, I believe that's his name. He was selling some personal stuff and it never arrived. So he suggested instead that I pick from his stock of what he had. And even though I wasn't entirely thrilled with the prospect of not getting what I had received, I accepted and took these instead as payment for what I had lost in the process. So it took a number of times of trying to contact him, and he kept forgetting, but he eventually followed through and pulled through, and he sent these along with some of the other editions I was able to get, and I think they're decent collector value and whatnot. So I'm glad I have those for collector purposes. These are two films from Germany by Jochen Steffen and Hermann Weller. The first one is called Blutnacht. And I believe that this is a 10-minute, oh wait, it's an 84-minute splatter film. And Blutnacht 2, Die Rückkehr des Dämon. Now they say for Brad because Brad Twigg had actually gotten them from Joachim Steffen himself. And what I often do is I buy straight from Brad Twigg, and so he's gotten a lot of things signed, but technically for him. But Brad Twigg tends to sell his personal collection to help fund some of his films, and I became a buyer of his personal collection from time to time because it just so happens to have things that I want from time to time. Now here I have. Now this is not a B film, but this is number 10 of a film called Manure. Now, I don't know what it is about. I have not watched it, but it is directed by James Bell, and he runs very fine craft videos. And he's got a number of films that are out there, and this one is called Manure. There is that copy of that particular film. It's like he makes a ton of he's got this movie called Dog Shit that is out, and some other randomness. Anyways, so the next film I have here is called Mr. Hell. There's the title. So the notorious serial killer Harry Eugene Lovelace, also known as Mr. Hell, roamed from town to town and job to job, brutally murdering his victims and the demonic intention of removing the windows to the soul, their eyes. Mr. Hell mutilated Dr. Carl Matthews at a government laboratory where biological weapons were secretly being developed. The doctor's precocious daughter, Tyler, who discovered her father's body with his eyes missing, was then pursued by Harry through the lab's subterranean tunnels. During the chase, Harry was accidentally destroyed by toxic industrial acid, and his remains flowed into a storage container. Was this the end for Mr. Hell? 14 years later, we find a grown-up Tyler, now a security guard at the lab, soon scheduled for demolition. During the lab's closing process, incompetent waste removal workers unwittingly released Harry's toxic essence. Mr. Hell is back and on the hunt. Complicating matters, a group of mercenaries led by Dominique Horney, played by Tracy Scoggins, invade the laboratory to steal a hidden vial of deadly bacterium to sell to terrorists. This small private army may be prepared for a few security guards, but not for Mr. Hell. As for Tyler, will she survive the band of professional killers and defeat once again the diabolical butcher, Mr. Hell? So, the stars Tracy Scoggins, Pavan Grover, and Danny Kamen. And this says Harvester of Souls. It is directed by Rob McKinnon. Put out by Alliance and Maverick Entertainment. So, I need to eventually buy My Wife is a Gangster 1 and 2, but I ended up buying, this was put out by Bonsai Media Corporation, and this is the third in a trilogy called My Wife is a Gangster. And My Wife in a Gangster is a Gangster 3 revolves around Rayong, played by Kei Shu, who was framed for murdering a crime boss from a rival gang to her father's, when her father, a spectacular foreman from Keelung, who starred in many legendary Hong Kong Shaw Brothers films, tells her to evacuate Hong Kong until the heat dies down. She chooses to go to South Korea, a country where her unknown mother was born. A Korean mob boss who is friendly with Ryong's father orders his third in charge, Kei Chul, played by Lee Bum-soo, star of The City of Violence and Oh Brothers, to protect Ryong during her stay. What started as a mutual relationship between Kai Chul and Rung slowly develops into passionate love. So there we have it. My Wife is a Gangster 3. Next one I have is called Machined. This looks like it was a ex-rental film, but ex-rentals don't bother me. Was distributed by Lionsgate. Looks like it was before Lionsgate was technically taken over by Disney. And it's directed by Craig McMahon. With Entertainment Productions and Post Real Pictures. Collectors have been known to go to extreme lengths to get what they want. For Motorman Dan, it would be to have his very own serial killer. When an innocent victim becomes trapped in Dan's truck stop, the victim of the final missing piece of his collection begins. Dan tools and manufactures this man into a half machine, half man, all serial killer in order for him to orchestrate his fantastical killing scenarios. There we have it. It's called Machined. I have not watched this yet, but it looks wicked. Now, this one I have watched, and for being its independent film, it's not too bad, and I liked the production values. Mustang Sally's Horror House. Pleasure has a price. Revenge has a name. This is the story of 6 college friends who, while planning on fulfilling their desires, get a lot more than they are bargained for. They decide to visit a house of ill repute, where they hear the girls are to die for. The Madam Mustang Sally introduces them to the girls of their dreams, but some dreams are really nightmares. One by one, each of the guys is lured into a trap that has been unexpectedly prepared for them. Step inside. Take a peek. Revenge, as they say, is sweet. The film is directed by Iron Coster. It's put out by American World Pictures and Mustang Sally LLC in association with Sobers and Coster Productions. So it stars E.G. Daly, Mark Parrish, Lindsay Labram, and so on and so forth. So there we go. And it was distributed, looks like, by MTI Video. So there we have it. Mustang Sally's Horror House. I like that house on the front. You'll die for it. I actually did watch that the film. So yeah. I think I'll put this in the bootleg pile because it is a bootleg of that film. So this one is a film that was directed by Chris Woods, and I've interviewed this guy before. He runs the Squeeze Box, which is a distribution company. And this was at least his third or fourth film. Or not third or fourth film. Third or fourth true feature. And it's called Make Them Die Sleazy. And this one is not signed or whatnot, but I did pick it up from someone. And Chris Woods is director of American Holocaust. So it says, grab a beer, sit back, relax, and strap yourself in, because the Sleaze Box is back in a tour de force of mixtape-style anthology madness. A sexy convention nerd, played by Tobias Thompson, returns to her hotel room and finds herself unwinding to the late-night antics of horror host Mr. Sleaze. Not to be mistaken for a respectable television personality, Mr. Sleaze specializes in the entertainment equivalent to corner store narcotics, deranged hookers, loudmouth madman, men, perverts, voyeuristic spooks. You want it, the prophetic pastor of schlock has got your fix. The cheap thrills may even give you a demonic case of the Holy Ghost. Dare to watch, Make Them Die Sleazy. A swift kick to the shriveled nards of Hollywood. Bonus features include sexy Tobias Thompson's hot video, a Mr. Sleep outtake, and more. So, yeah. There we have it. Make Them Die Sleazy. Definitely a cool title. I will definitely watch this eventually. So this next one is actually from a Chicago director that I know of. His name is Derek Brash, and this is, I believe, his second film, and it's called Murder for Pleasure. So, unflinchingly violent. Victor's life unraveled at the moment his parents were brutally slaughtered in front of his young eyes. Suffering from horrific nightmares, he seeks professional help, only to discover a blurred line between dreams and reality. No one is safe from the terror that follows. Derek Brash runs Chivi's Films, and he worked in association with Easy's As Is Planned Productions. The film stars Nick Bender, Andrea Iazetto, Ray Trumbull, and I actually watched this film. It wasn't bad as far as gore goes. I mean, for a small production, I like the fact that he has created quite a name and a stir for himself, and I think he's got a lot ahead of himself. I know he did a short film called Clowns at Midnight or whatnot, or something like that. But he's done a lot of short films that I relatively like, and I like his style. I wish I could have actually been part of his last Kickstarter. Here's a couple of the other films that I got from Nick Cox. Mr. Rape's First Date. Ultra fucked cut. As you can see, it actually says ultra fucked. So, from the company that gave you Brutal Jesus and the Violent Vicar comes a new slice of cinematic trash. Set in a world where television is outlawed, Mr. Rape discovers an old TV set containing what he believes is a dark spirit who will guide him through his first crime. It features the original cut, an all-new color cut, which tells a story in a new way and behind-the-scenes footage on the so-called film. So this is the Mr. Rape's First Date limited second run Christmas edition. It was only available from 2105 2016 to 2805 2016. Also from Dead Good Like Films. So it says the same thing, and it contains all new soundtrack with your favorite Christmas classics, evidently. So yeah, Christmas edition, if you can see it. So yeah, from Dead Good Like Films, there we go. So these two, More Monster and More Monster 2, are entirely in German. And I wish that they weren't, because I would love to watch them. They look comical. Apparently the directors, it's from Brendel Pictures, and I actually bought all of their films that they had at that point in time from them, and some of them had English subtitles, some of them did not, and these two did not. I'm assuming that these are like Trauma-esque films, but they look so awesome. I'd love to watch them and see what they're about at least, or eventually down the road, maybe they might actually have English subtitles connected with these films. These look freaking awesome. So yeah, More Monster and More Monster 2. all the way from Germany. So here we have two films, Aftermath, Genesis, and The Awakening. Aftermath and Genesis and The Awakening are all on this particular release from Unearthed Films, and this is an out of print copy from them, and they're all from Waken Productions, and they're all directed by Nacho Sierra. I watched all three of these, and I specifically like Aftermath out of all three of them, even though I love all three of these. The first one, Aftermath, was about an embalming, where it looks like a guy goes in and just literally goes through and takes the body of this woman and carves her up, takes her organs, and I don't know what he does with them, but I've never seen anything like it before, where someone does what they do to it, and it's quite graphic and gruesome. So, I have more from this box, but I think I'll save those for another video. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I'll definitely have some more videos for you to listen to my stories that are involved with some of these films. So I appreciate your time spent on this page, and thank you for watching, and look out for more videos coming from me. So again, these are from my collection, and I'm just some of them have different stories to them, and I just want to talk about them, you know. And some days I might show you something I got in the mail, or a box, or unboxing, or and if you're interested in more, I'll do more. So I'm hoping to do these collection videos a lot. So thank you so much. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Appreciate your time.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?